Hey guys, welcome to Parlay Revival. If you're joining us for the first time, my name's Colin. We bought a hurricane damaged catamaran back in January of this year, and we spent a long time fixing it up, and we had a whole lot of fiberglass repair work to do. So the point of this video is to show you how to fix a surfboard, and we're just going to use some of the marine materials that I had lying around from the damages. I'll show you a few of the techniques that we learnt while we were fixing the boat, and let's get into it.
The board that we are fixing today is an old longboard I bought for people to learn to surf on. As a cruising sailboat, we are often in very remote areas, and it is useful to be able to make these kind of repairs ourselves. We are going to use generic marine materials to do this repair, which a lot of sailors should have anyway. First and foremost, you must determine if your board is made from polyester resins or epoxy. Epoxy resins can be used to repair polyester and epoxy boards, but it is important to note that polyester resins can only be used on polyester boards. This particular surfboard is made from polyester, so I'm going to use polyester resins for the repair. The marine resins tend to cure a slightly brownish colour, which is okay in this case as we are not too concerned with the aesthetics and the crew just want to get surfing again. Boards damaged to this extent will need some sort of filler material. The proper material to use would be Q-cell, but again, on board we only have micro balloon filler, which will work just fine. The glass which we're going to use is leftover chopped mat. We have some alcohol for cleaning, and we have various grades of sandpaper starting from 60 grit to wet and dry 320 grit. Our orbital sander is broken at the moment, so we'll be doing all the sanding by hand. Be sure to wear gloves and a good quality mask in order not to get glass in your skin and lungs. Fiberglass dust is extremely fine and has a tendency to get absolutely everywhere, so make sure you clear a decent workspace. The first step is to clean the damaged area. Scrape all the wax off from around the area and wipe it down with acetone or alcohol. Just like on a boat, delaminated fiberglass has no structural integrity, so cut away any loose bits of glass and get back to some solid laminate. The area needing to be repaired must be sanded back in order for the new resins to form a mechanical bond with the old layer. I am using 60 grit with a block and am sanding back an area wide enough for the new glass to lay inside. You could also carefully use an orbital sander for this step. Once the repair has been adequately sanded, you are now ready to fill all the missing material to get the shape of the board back. Tape off the area to be filled and let the tape form a lip for the new resin to sit in. Make sure to shake your resin thoroughly before using it. Pour the appropriate amount of resin into a clean container. The catalyst is MEKP and the recommended ratio is about 2%. If unsure of how much to put in, go on the lesser side as it will still eventually cure and not kick off while you are still handling it. Mix the hardener in thoroughly, making sure that the resin has completely mixed with the hardener. Now you can mix in the filler material. Do this in stages, adding small amounts at a time. You will notice the viscosity start to increase, and a good consistency would resemble something like toothpaste. Applying the filler can be difficult and messy, but the main objective is to lay enough filler to eliminate any low spots for the fiberglass to lay over. Use as much filler as you want, but remember, any excess has to be sanded back down to board level. This repair has damages to the top and bottom sides, so I'll apply the filler in 2 stages.
Hey guys, so I just got back from a little surf this morning. I probably should have put a little bit of more hardener in the filler that I did yesterday, so I had to let it dry overnight. But it's rock hard this morning, so we're going to carry on sanding.
Once the filler has completely dried, you can start sanding. Start with some 60 grit and systematically sand out all of the high spots. Careful not to sand one spot for too long or you will lose the shape of the board. Use your free hand to feel for any imperfections. If you have found any low spots in the repair, you can repeat this step and sand down to the correct level. For this repair, I'm going to use 2 layers of glass, as it is in a very vulnerable area of the board. The first layer of glass can be cut to the size of the repair, and the second layer an inch or 2 larger than that. Make sure to lay some plastic under your work area, as this stage can be very messy. Mix some resin as you did before, but without the filler material. Apply a coat of resin to the repair before the first layer of glass. Lay on the glass and saturate it with a brush or squeegee. The key to successful glasswork is to have the glass totally saturated with resin, eliminating any air bubbles. Lay on your second layer of glass and saturate this one, working all of the air out of the glass. I should have done this beforehand, but cut slots in the glass to help it wrap around the nose. The strength of the repair is in the glass, not the resin, so although you want it completely saturated, any excess resin simply adds unwanted weight. Once the fiberglass is cured, you can sand back and prepare for the hot coat. The hot coat is simply a final layer of resin only to fill any minor imperfections and give you a sandable surface. Sand the fiberglass flat with 60 or 80 grit, removing any high spots. Your filler job hopefully was good enough for you not to have to shape the board at all, just knock down the proud bits of fiberglass. Clean with acetone or alcohol and apply the resin mixed with hardener again one last time with a brush, trying not to leave any deep brush marks. A professional would add surfacing agents to this mix, but again, we are just using materials we have on board. Once completely cured, start sanding with 150 grit to get the brush marks out. After this, I wet sanded with 320 grit to get the final glossy finish. Careful not to have any debris in your glass, as you can end up with Marty the boat dog's hair in your glasswork, just like I did. So that's the job complete. That was just a fun little video to start the year on how to fix a surfboard with boat materials. The final product looks pretty good, I think. There's a slight discoloration between the filler that I used and the original foam, obviously. But it's strong, it's smooth, it's still got that good shape. So I think it's a successful job.